Thank you, Kathy. I'll share my screen. Okay, Kathy, are you able to see my screen?
Okay, we can see.
Okay, so let's start. First of all, thank you, Kathy, for giving me this opportunity to speak in this group. And this session is quite dear to me because I was born in Kolkata, but it's been a while that I'm working abroad. But I was born in Kolkata, so it's good to be kind of virtually back to my city and talk about what I have done for the past few months. I would say about personal branding and how I found a job through personal branding. So I will share my some of my tips that I have personally used to change from my previous background, which was Siebel, to Salesforce and make that transition and how the things I have done on LinkedIn, how it has helped me. So I'll talk about those today. So let's jump into the session now. Thank you. So a bit about me. I have around 11 years of experience in CRM industry. Previously, I was working on Siebel CRM, if you have known about it. Uh, it's a similar CRM software like Salesforce, but it was an on-premises application. Now I have moved into Salesforce. Past 1 year, I have been working in Salesforce. I'm a Salesforce consultant. I have three certifications, as mentioned before: admin, platform app builder, and platform developer one. I am passionate about crafting clean and user-friendly Salesforce experiences. I talk about personal branding and Salesforce related topics on LinkedIn, Twitter, and social media. I'm a member of Talent Stacker, which is a Salesforce career development program. I've learned a lot of things from there, and a lot of tips which I will be talking here are from that group. So today's agenda we'll talk about what is personal branding, what are the benefits of personal branding, why we choose LinkedIn to personal branding on LinkedIn, create an exquisite LinkedIn profile. I will give a brief demo of my profile and what I have done on there. Then using LinkedIn covers the space creatively, tools for branding your profile, finally how to grow your brand on LinkedIn, and key to success. So what is personal branding? A lot of people think personal branding, even on Wikipedia, the personal branding definition, not personal branding, I would say branding definition means a logo, name, logo, slogan, or a design. But these are not what is branding. It are these are items of a branding. So what is actually personal branding? Personal branding is the process that allows an individual to differentiate themselves by consistently articulating and leveraging their unique value proposition. In simpler terms, your personal brand is how people feel about you, about things you say, things you do online or in your career, uh, the feeling that people get from you, the trust build from the things you do, it becomes your personal brand. So, how do we build a personal brand? To build a personal brand, you have to do these four steps. First step is to create awareness. You need to, if you are new on LinkedIn or any social media or even in your career, the your peers or your manager or people who are looking at your profile may not know what are your skills, what are you good in. So you have to create that awareness by doing good things, by posting regularly, or If you are working, you have to show your skills that will help you to create your awareness. People need to know what makes you stand out from the other hundreds of people. Okay? You have to create your awareness. Second step is to gain trust, to be consistent and show your skills to the world, to your peers, to your managers, and gain their trust that you can do a good job, you can provide value, you can have a consistent output. Then the third step is to build reputation. You can build reputation. Uh, the step two and step three are quite closely linked. So, building reputation, you can build. Yeah, sorry about that. But you can build reputation by similar keep doing the same work on a better level, improve, talk to your people, get to know them, build your network, keep increase your reach. That's how you build your reputation. Finally, you have done all the steps. The final step is to get the feedback. You have to get feedback how you can in order to improve yourself, in order to be better, in order to do things what you can do in a proper structured manner. Know your audience, what they want, what they like, or know your audience problems, what and display those things, how you can fix them and how you can help them. So using all these four things, you can build a brand. Next, ways of branding. So if you are a career seeker, because this forum is more targeted to career seekers, so I'll specifically talk about career seekers. So if you are a career seeker, you can use these three items to build your brand. First is the resume. If you are looking for a job, if you are already in a job, but if you are looking for a new job, so you have to build a resume which reflects your skills, your certifications, your top points, which looking at the resume, the people should know that, yeah, this is something they want. This is the person they want to work with. Then you can create a Salesforce portfolio uh, by using Experience Cloud and show your skills that you are already building your portfolio on the Salesforce platform. And in the portfolio, you can show what are the things you have done, what are the projects you have worked on. And these days, Salesforce portfolio is very common amongst Salesforce job seekers. The recruiters, they ask for a portfolio if you have, so it will be a good idea to demonstrate what you have done in Salesforce. Then finally, today we'll talk about how to do it on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is another way you can build your brand. So these are the three items how a career seeker can build their brand. So let's look at a very quick example how branding affects a product and how we can leverage it. So we have phone A and phone B. So looking at the phone right now, in order to compare between them, we need to look at the phone specs. So if you look at the specs carefully, clearly phone B has a better display, better camera, but bigger battery, more RAM, a better processor. And then on top of that, phone B also has a unique feature called 3.5 mm audio jack, which is very rare in the phone these days. Now, when you look at the price, you will see that phone B has better specs and a much cheaper price. So at this point of time, you are making your mind that phone B is suitable for you. Suddenly enter the brand name. Now you look at that phone A is Apple iPhone 11 and phone B is a local brand. It's not Apple. So suddenly, even though phone B was looking good on paper, now you start thinking about Apple iPhone 11 because you have used iPhones before, and you know they have a better customer service. They have uh, uh, they have better equipment. They have um, the better warranty. So, and on top of that, Apple has done years of marketing to build that brand that Apple iPhone is the premium phone. So even though it's four times more expensive, you will still start changing your perception because Apple iPhone 11 has a better brand. Apple has built a better brand for iPhone over the years, which the brand not Apple has not done that because they're new in market. They may not have built their branding yet. So even though out of all this, after comparison, you will still go for iPhone 11 because you know they have this brand and you can talk about it. You can show off to your friends that I have a premium product. So this is the power of branding. A bit about my branding career, my branding path. 6 to 8 months ago, a lot of people didn't know about me. So I wanted to create my personal brand, stand out of the crowd, try different type of content. I'm new to Salesforce, so I couldn't talk about Salesforce as such because I'm still learning. If I go around and start talking about flows, it may not look good. So I thought I have to look into something that I can talk about. So I looked at this personal branding stuff and I feel that I can talk about personal branding. So I tried to find different content and finally I found a unique idea which lead to a huge impact and suddenly people started knowing me. Now, when people look at this image or at my profile, they can directly link me to LinkedIn cover designs. So, LinkedIn cover designs, I've created some LinkedIn cover designs from some for some people, even for some of my colleagues. So now when you look at my profile, look at my brand, you will know that this is how people differentiate me. When people talk about me, they won't know that I have Salesforce skills or not, but they would know that yeah, I can build better LinkedIn cover designs. That has become my personal brand. So let's talk about benefits of personal branding. Personal branding, of course, it helps you to stand out of the crowd. There are thousands of people online. They are doing their things in their own way. Everyone's trying to get a breakthrough. So, what you can do differently so that people notice you or you stand out of the crowd. Personal branding is that factor which will help you. It can lead you to multiple opportunities. You can get, of course, job opportunities from through your personal brand, or you can also get some kind of proposition to. So in at the end, it leads to multiple opportunities. It increases your audience trust over the time. Uh, People look at your work, people start to understand that this is what you do, and when you work on something consistently, your audience notices that and they gain trust in you. Sorry about that. It helps your future career, as I said before. Through personal branding, people know you, they know your skills, they trust you. So if a potential recruiter or potential company has an opportunity and they feel that you will fit with them, with their culture, with their work ethics, they might give you an opportunity to work with them. Next, you can take advantage of marketing opportunities. So, personal branding when you build a personal brand, you become a product. Now you have to market yourself in the in job in job space or in other various fields, so that you can market your skills better. You know, then personal branding helps you to expand your reach. Before personal branding, I was reaching to maybe 10 people, 20 people. Now, uh, after personal branding, I can see my posts are reaching thousands of people. People are noticing, people are coming and asking me how I can help them, in what ways I can help them. So it expands your reach organically. So now let's talk about how to do personal branding on LinkedIn and why we choose LinkedIn. LinkedIn has about 756 million members to date. They have 57 million companies listed on LinkedIn. 15 million plus open jobs are there. 300K remote jobs are there. 40 million people are searching on LinkedIn, and 3 people are getting hired every minute. So you can see it's such a vast network. If you don't want to build your personal brand here, where else would you? If you build your personal brand on LinkedIn, it you are reaching such a big market, not in just your country, across the world. You can connect to so many people, so many companies. So that's why we are using LinkedIn. So, using those 4 ways that we talked about, the ways to build our personal brand, we will use those uh, points to create our personal branding on LinkedIn. First, we will create awareness on LinkedIn. How we will create awareness? By telling everyone who we are. So this section of LinkedIn, you can see your name, your title, your header, then about us. These are the section which creates awareness about yourself. So this part of LinkedIn profile should be very clear and precise. When people visit your profile, they should know exactly what you do, how you do, and what are the skills that you have that set you apart. Next, you gain trust. You gain trust by your credentials, by displaying your experience. The experience section where you say that how you worked, what have you done, your achievements in that role, your recommendations, if you have any, your key responsibilities. By displaying those, your future employer or your anyone who is looking at your profile, they can see that, okay, this person has this kind done this kind of stuff. He also has a recommendation letter from previous employer. So they start, even though they don't know you, they have some kind of trust building up now. Third, you build reputation by displaying your skills, your achievements. You post your licenses and certifications that you have, because in Salesforce world, certifications play a very important role, and many companies look at the count of certification as well. So, looking at the certifications, it gives them kind of a sense of trust, and they get a kind of reputation about you. Then skills and endorsements. You put your top skills here, then you ask people to endorse, or you are working with some people on the same team, or people know about you, they will come and endorse your skills. Your top skills give the sense of idea to your potential employers that this is what he's good in. And finally, we get feedback by recommendation, by letters. Uh, you can either ask for recommendation or you can give recommendations. Using looking at the recommendation, people can tell what this person has done with a particular ex-colleague or a employer or a client, how they have done a good job. All that comes here as a recommendation, as a feedback. So this is how you build your personal brand on LinkedIn. Then apart from this, there is another section on top of your profile where before I started doing LinkedIn cover designs, I realized that not everyone used this space creatively or and in a way that it gives idea to when someone comes to your profile, just looking at one glance, they should know what it means, how what it talks about you in a very precise manner. So I started building LinkedIn cover pages in a way that you can display your title. These are the various components of a LinkedIn cover space. You can put a title, you can put experience statement, you can put your certification logos, you can put a cover design, a background design, which is definitely optional. You can also put your picture, which is also optional. But the main items are what you are, what you are doing, and how you are, like your certifications and all you can post here. There are other ways also, there are other information also which you can post, but to me, I don't want the cover space to be very cluttered. I want it to be clean and clear enough. So this is how I present my LinkedIn covers. Finally, we'll look at how to grow our brand on LinkedIn or any social media. So knowing your audience is one of the important stuff thing you should do when you're building your brand. If my audience is about Salesforce and I'm talking about AWS, it doesn't make sense. I need to know what my audience, even if I'm talking about Salesforce, I should know that what my audience needs. If they are commenting that they want to know more about Experience Cloud, so I should start uh, posting about Experience Cloud because that will help my audience. So you should always know what your audience wants and how they consume your post articles. So that will help you to grow your brand. Then use Signature Traffic Builder. Signature Traffic Builder is a fancy name for writing posts, articles, or documents, or any kind of images, videos that you share on your social media or LinkedIn profile. So your post should be, as I said, should be related to what your audience wants, and then only it will help you grow your brand. Then focus on consistency. You have to consistently post on LinkedIn or social media to gain that trust that this is the kind of information you are floating across different people, and the medium of your post should have kind of consistency, and you should talk about uh, the things you want. And you should know that on LinkedIn, as compared to other like Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, other social media, there is a very high uh, importance of posting every day. But LinkedIn is different. LinkedIn algorithm doesn't work like that. So if you post once a week is already enough for LinkedIn. LinkedIn is only social media which keeps showing your post up to 1 week. And if it has more um, interaction going on, people are commenting, people are liking, they will even bump it up. The LinkedIn algorithms bump up your articles, your posts. So if you are consistently posting once a week is already enough in LinkedIn. Then collaborate and learn from the experts. If you're new in that space, yeah, look at Salesforce MVPs or people who are running successful blogs, how they are posting on LinkedIn, or how they are putting their data across. Learn from them. Try to reach out to them. Try to collaborate with them and see how it can help because they have already done it. So learning from the masters would be better to grow your brand as well. Let's look at some of the tools that I use. Of course, I am trained in Photoshop, so most of the things that I do, cover designs, web design, or any kind of image manipulation work I need to do, I do it on Photoshop. But if you don't have a license or if you don't want to pay for Photoshop, you can go for Canva and Snappa. These are some online photo editing tools and post creation tools which you can use to create your post. Then you can use background removers if you want a good profile image, and you can use this background remover to remove images, as remove the background. And then, yeah, profile pic maker is a very good tool that I use. You remove the background from the image, just yourself, and then you upload that image in profile pic maker, and it gives you a very nice professional looking profile pictures. Then you already know that on LinkedIn and some social media, there is no way to use formatting. If you want to use underline, bold, italics, though to emphasize on particular words, you can't do it because there are no capabilities like that. So in you use I use Yay text to show bold and italic characters in my post on LinkedIn and Twitter as well. If you want to look at real-time analytics, you can either, I would suggest that if you are a job seeker and you're looking for a job, it's always a good idea to subscribe for LinkedIn Premium for a few days. Like when I was looking for a job, I subscribed to LinkedIn Premium for at least 2 to 3 months, and then once I got the job, I discontinued it. But I saw that there's a lot of information that LinkedIn Premium gives you, so those are helpful. But if you don't have a LinkedIn Premium, you can also go to real-time analytics tracking softwares or applications online, like in Inlytics. They also have a free plan. In that you can see how your posts are doing, how is the interaction on your post, and different analytics. At the end of the day, patience and hard work are the key to success. If you're trying to build your brand on social media, of course, it will not happen in one day. You have to be patient, you have to take your time, you have to consistently build genuine relationships, you have to know people, you have to talk to them. I know there are lots of people coming to my profile. I get a lot of requests, I send a lot of requests. I may not able to connect with everyone, but whenever I have time, I try to reach out, saying hi, do you need help, or I need help, or any kind of genuine relationship. Try to know your connections. Try to know what they are doing, what are if they are doing something extraordinary in say in Salesforce ecosystem. Reach out to them and say appreciate their work, talk to them, and build some genuine relationships. Because at the end of the day, if you want to find job faster, I would say I have got my job through relationships. I tried to apply online, it didn't work. I got my job through relationships, through referrals, internal referrals. So building genuine relationship is very important to for a successful branding. Ask your audience about their challenges. As I talked about before, you should know your audience. So ask your audiences what challenges they are facing, what kind of problems you can solve. If they pose some kind of challenge, try to see if you have that kind of capability to solve their challenges and write to them directly or post online or help them in any way. Sometimes some people reach out to me and say that okay, they're having this particular problem, they're not able to build their community, or they're having some problem on their Experience Cloud. So I jump on a Zoom call with them and say, just share your screen, and I like, okay, this is how I can help them. So it doesn't take a lot of time. It takes few minutes or maybe half an hour. I'm happy to help people that way. And I have seen that when I have helped people, in turn, other people have also helped me in times when I need it. Overcome challenges and don't give up. Of course, there will be so many roadblocks, so many things happen when you're trying to build your personal brand. It will take a lot of things to overcome. Just don't give up. Keep doing what you feel you are good at. Eventually, it will work. It might take you 6 months, 7 months, or 10 months, or even 1 year, or even more than that to build your brand. But keep at it and don't give up. So, with this, we have reached the end of the session, and thank you so much for patiently hearing me blabber through this last 30 minutes. And I hope you have gained some value from this session. Thank you so much. Over to you, Kathy.
Thank you so much, Abhishek. It was really interesting and interactive to know. We have a question from Devendra. Not question. He just want to. He says he would love to hear more about the challenges you faced in this technology transition and tips to get into Salesforce ecosystem.
Okay. So, as I said, I was almost 1 year ago, I started moving into Salesforce, but I was not working full time on Salesforce. I was working on Siebel CRM. So the very first challenge was whenever I even apply for a job, either because these days all everything is automated. Every company they get thousands of applications, so they use a software called ATS, Application Tracking System, which has keywords in it, and they search your resume through it. And if those keywords are not there, you won't clear your resume won't even reach human eyes. So that was one challenge, that I didn't have enough Salesforce experience. So most of the time I apply for the job, I would never hear from them. Even I won't get a recruiter call or something. So that's when someone reached out to me, like one of my mentors told me that these days you have to build relationship with on LinkedIn, on social media, and then try to ask them to refer internally. This is specifically for uh, people who have less experience. So major challenge was to gain experience that I can show to my potential employers, and to make them understand that okay, I may not have like very common questions were asked to me in my interviews were like, so you have only 6 months of experience, why should I hire you? What do you bring to the table? What you do differently? That's when I used to tell them that okay, I have only 6 months to 8 months of Salesforce experience, but I have 11 years of CRM experience. At the end of the day, CRM as a concept, as functional concept, it will not change. It is same. The accounts, contacts, opportunities, quotes, these are in Siebel also, which I was doing before. The same things are, those the same entities are in Salesforce as well. So I have that 11 years of CRM experience, which I can convert here, which I can leverage here. Salesforce at the end of the day is just a tool, but the CRM concept will remain same. So using this kind of techniques, I have overcome my challenges. First challenge was experience, how to show experience. The second challenge was how to defend that I have less experience, and then finally to build relations with someone so that they can have enough trust in me and refer me. So this is what I hope this helps.
I hope, Devendra, you got your answer. We have one more question. Which one do you find robust technology, Siebel or Salesforce?
Okay, working in Siebel for the past 10 years, I would say, like I was a product configurator in Siebel. Moving to Salesforce, I've been working in Salesforce quite some time now, so I feel like still till date, Salesforce doesn't have a kind of native kind of product configurator which Siebel had even like 10 years ago. So for Salesforce, you either need to go for Salesforce CPQ, which is now native, but or you have to go for other apps like CloudSense, CPQ, or Aptos, those kind of things to extend to those capabilities. But 10 years ago, Siebel already has those kind of things. But the problem is Siebel couldn't keep up with the cloud wars, and Salesforce did. So that's why Siebel is quite expensive, because to implement Siebel is an on-premises application. You need servers, you need admins, you need DBAs to run Siebel. So that's a lot of cost on the company side, which Salesforce has able to uh, minimize on. So that's why I feel like Siebel was definitely robust 10, 20 years ago. And if they would have been, they would have done something to go on cloud, would have been helpful, but it didn't work out. Uh, that's the void that Salesforce came in and filled. So I would still say that Siebel was quite robust. But yeah, Salesforce is emerging now over the period. You can see they are doing a lot of acquisitions. They are doing a lot of improvement on the AI side, or a different kind of capabilities. So I think eventually Salesforce will. Salesforce is already hot in the market, but yeah. So I hope it helps.
We have one more question. How one should face or overcome the situation of conflicts between company working and personal values?
Company working and personal values. Hmm. Company working and personal values. Okay. So see, when you're working in a company, of course, there will be so many conflicts. I personally, everyone, just like me, everyone has faced things. You might have been asked to do things you don't like, but it's always good to be transparent. Like I have, when I was working on Siebel, and suddenly I was given uh, a task to work on Unix, or to run some batch jobs in Unix, and I had no idea. I've never done anything like that before. But if I go up front and tell my manager or my team that I don't want to do it, it gives a negative impact, right? You don't want that. So what you can do is you can try. So I tried my best to give my the way to work on it, and fix and to learn as fast as possible. But somehow I just didn't get it. You know, you might have seen sometimes that you work really hard, but for some reason, either you don't have enough interest in that field, or you don't understand that concept. It just goes over your head no matter how much you try. So rather than wasting time on that, I went and upfront told my manager that, see, this is not working for me. I would be 100%. I won't lie to you. I would be transparent to you that this is not working with me. So it's always, if you are having some conflicting issues between working and personal values, you should go and talk about, rather than sitting down and not doing anything about it, and be transparent about your skills. Work hard, of course. I hope that's more or less. If
Yes, that covers all the points. Okay, so I would like to ask you one question.
yeah,
What advices would you give to someone who is entering Salesforce ecosystem?
okay. So the advice I would say, like, this is the advice that I got when I first time I was moving into, because I moved into Salesforce because Siebel is slowly dying. Most of the companies have stopped using Siebel, so I was afraid that I will be jobless, and to be jobless and be overseas is not a good idea. It's definitely, there are major challenges, and in times of COVID, you don't want to be there. So yeah, if you are working in some kind of situation like that, and you feel like your technology is dying, rather than waiting for it, take the steps necessary, do what is required. So when I was moving into Salesforce, These are the things which I was told that Salesforce is very fast and rapidly moving ecosystem. You have to learn quickly. You know, uh, as as fast as you can learn and cover more and more topics, it will be better for you, because every day thousands of people are taking their admin exams. So how do you compete with them? So going beyond, above and beyond, learning things like looking into the niche market. What is like, if these days, Salesforce Industries and Velocity, you see a lot of people are certified on app builder, developer, and even admin. These are the common certifications, but you will see not many people going for Omni Studio consultant or Omni Studio developer. I Now that I'm working in the ecosystem, I can see, especially in Singapore, I would say there's a lot of demand for Velocity or Salesforce Industries implementation. So look at those kind of niche and get a certification, improve your knowledge in that niche skill. Salesforce is already good in today's market, it's hot, but when you deep down, like Marketing Cloud, Paradot, or Salesforce Industries, or um, like these days, Slack implementations. Slack has also come up with their own admin and developer program. Do that. Not many people are certified on Slack implementations. So on top of your regular Salesforce skills, you have to find your niche. Like I came from configurator background, so I knew that if I go into CPQ, it will be easier for me to do a transition. So I started learning CPQ and started improving my skills on that. So yeah, first would be learn fast. Second would be look at niche, and then third will be find a mentor. Salesforce is all, I would say, this is one community which I have never seen before. I've been working for almost 11, 12 years. I've never seen such a helpful community. So find a mentor. Over the time, I have mentors, at least 5 or 6 mentors for different things. I have one mentor just for my personal wellness. When I'm upset or I'm having challenge in my work, I just ping him and say, "Hey, can we have a chat?" And that person will say, "Yeah, let's talk in 30 minutes time." And then I will say, "Okay." Then he will give me some advice. Then I have a mentor who guides me what kind of what kind of career path I should take. When you are new in new in Salesforce ecosystem, the major challenge is, sometimes what I felt was, am I a developer, am I an admin, or I am a consultant? That's a major challenge that everyone face. I feel, at least I felt that. So I didn't know what am I good at. So you talk to someone, you find a mentor, and a mentor is experienced. They will know. Like my mentor, he talked to me and he told me, "Okay, tell me what are you good at, what you do." So I told him that, okay, I think that I can talk to the client well. I feel like I can talk a lot. If I have the good knowledge about the products, features, I can give a good value to the customer side. So he told me, okay, that's it. It's clear. Then you go be a consultant. You will make a better consultant than a developer or an admin. So find a mentor who can help you. There are so many people on Salesforce ecosystem already giving so much help for free of charge, or already there are mentorship programs going on in Salesforce. Apply for that, find a mentor. So these are the main things I would say, main advices that I was given, and I found it helpful, and I continue to bank on them. So yeah, these are the tips that I would say.
That's a great set of advice. This is why we say that community is for all. Like we are here to help and uplift each other. So yes.